Okay, back with another WeatherXM update, this time going through the difference between the AG and the association. Now, I can embarrass myself with trying to pronounce this AG as Aktiengesellschaft, which is a public limited company in Switzerland. But before we get too far down my horrible Swiss German, Panos, maybe we start with you. What does the association do?
So the association is a non-profit organization founded in Switzerland, and the role of the association is to be the owner of the network. And this means mainly two things and a few other. The association is the owner of the data collected by weather stations, and the association sets the hardware specs for the weather stations that are able to join the network. In order to achieve this, we also have set up a governance process. Maybe we can get into details in the future. And there's also the data license auctions. You have probably seen the announcements, the recent announcements, where we will give access to anyone who is interested in using the data in a commercial context. They will be able to purchase a license from the association in order to do so. Yeah, I think this is the TLDR of the association.
Okay, cool. And then Manos, what does the AG do in contrast to that?
So the company basically that started the whole project in the first place has been doing everything until the association was founded, which was December last year. So yeah, as Pano said, the association in a nutshell is in charge of the token and the data, and the company is in charge of the rest, but is trying to split some of the tasks in a more clear and transparent way between the association and the company. So right now, the company is acting as a manufacturer for the hardware.
Mm-hmm.
And has done all the R&D in the hardware and the software. The mobile app is something that was initially created by the company, but we've open sourced it, so it will eventually probably be transferred to the association. The company is also running the infrastructure. That's something that needs to evolve into two different types of infrastructure as we enhance the decentralized infrastructure utilized for the project. And the most important task that the company has right now is to commercialize on the data. So we see that our company is one of the customers of the DAO, is probably the most important one at this point, and in the future most likely, but it shouldn't be the only one. So the company has to buy one of those licenses that Panos mentioned before through the auction mechanism, and by having that license, the company is entitled to commercialize on the data, therefore provide added value weather services such as forecasts, B2B stuff, attracting customers directly, and also utilize data on chain in the future.
Got it. Okay, so this is a pretty standard thing in these deepened projects. Is it kind of starts off as one company or like one project group figuring out how to do this, and then it splits off into a whatever it is in this case, this association, and then the actual company. And ideally, there are going to be many other companies competing in the WeatherXM ecosystem to get the data from the association, from the community, and then do whatever they're going to do with it. That's kind of how these things start. Panos, how is this going to change over time from where it is now, where these things are both kind of new as far as being separated? What should we expect to see?
Yeah. First of all, something that Manos mentioned about the infrastructure. We want the association to be independent when it comes to infrastructure. So things that the company is doing actually for the association right now, the company shouldn't be obliged to do them, but obviously because there's a huge interest from the company side for the project to succeed. The company is offering resources both as in the form of developers and network administrators, and also as by paying for the actual infrastructure that we're using. So the infrastructure that collects the data from stations and runs the reward mechanism and distributes the rewards to the station owners will eventually be part of an infrastructure run by the association. This is one thing. The other thing is about the actual governance of the association. Sometimes we refer to this body as the DAO, which is in a way what we want it to become. We know it's not a decentralized autonomous organization right now, but this is what we want the association to become. And in this direction, we have already established a governance mechanism through which any interested party can propose changes, and the changes will be voted using WXM. So the more WXM you hold, the more voting power you have. And eventually, we want the association, the current body of the association, which is the board of directors and the members of the associations. There are 11 members in the association. These are people that had been involved in the project as developers or as part of the project for a long time. We want these two bodies to be just the people who deal with the legal and compliance, do the stuff that the law in Switzerland requires for an association, and the actual governance and decisions will be taken by the WXM token holders.
Got it. Okay, cool. So that's a nice layout of what is happening now and what should happen in the future. Manos, what else should people know about the kind of general structure of the WeatherXM ecosystem?
I think I want to build on what Panos said, that our goal has always been to see what this project basically as a superstructure, or at least my personal vision was to turn this into a superstructure, which means the project, the network, the association has to be as autonomous as possible in all aspects, which is governance, economic sustainability, and also resilience and censorship and so on. So we have to figure out ways to make the infrastructure not only independent from the company, but also independent from the centralized aspects of specific people. So the long-term goal here is to be able to have all the software that is necessary for the DAO to be able to be executed, operated by the community again. Actually, Panos has designed an architecture around this idea very early on in the project. It's just that we couldn't implement yet. Hopefully we will soon. That involves community members running some software as well, some nodes, and so that's the structure. Let's say the infrastructure part. The sustainability when it comes to the economy, I think, is also very important. That's why the DAO has revenue from the fees of the hardware, the hardware that is onboarded, and through a process of hardware certification. In the future, the association will be able to approve third-party manufacturers, and at the same time, which is necessary to scale the network, introduce new types of hardware as well, but at the same time create revenue for the association. And through the sale of the licenses of the data and the sale of the onboarding of the hardware, we hope that the association is going to be economically sustainable. And then we have the company, on the other hand, that is doing more exotic R&D because it's easier for a company to do that. It's easier for a company to be flexible and agile in relationship to finding product market fit and exploring new markets that are not there yet in many ways. They are under construction as we speak. So that's where the weather oracle stuff comes in, and the weather insurance, weather risk. We have a lot of experiments there in the pipeline. And I think eventually some of those new services are going to evolve in a similar way that what we have been describing so far has evolved, which means the company is going to create something new there, and a portion of that is going to be transferred to the association. So the weather oracle idea, I'm assuming the raw data proofs and everything should be part of the association, but the fancy calculations or services of data on chain could be something that is related more with the company.
But
So overall, to summarize, that means that we're trying to split the revenue and the burden and both the good and the bad things between the two entities, so they can help each other out, but at the same time make them as independent as possible and make the project as sustainable as possible.
And to add to this, from the association's point of view, even if someone, the WeatherXM AG company or another company, develops something on top of the data, like the oracles that Manos mentioned, even if it doesn't become part of the infrastructure that the association operates, this gives additional value to our data. So this means that in the next license auction, we expect that since there's more value, someone is creating a bigger profit using this data, they will be willing to bid for more. So the value comes back to the association.
Got it. Okay. Well, that's a nice breakdown between those two things and helps people understand what we're talking about when we say AG or association or even DAO. Gents, thanks so much for making the time to come on and explain this to the community. Really appreciate you guys doing that.
Thank you, Nick.